Chapter 1.1 The Resonance 3:17 a.m. The village of Schattenwald, lost in the folds of the Swiss Alps, is submerged in an icy silence. The air, saturated with ozone and melted snow, feels tangible, like the finest fabric stretched between the world and the void. Above the jagged peaks of the mountains, resembling obsidian shards, a velvety black dome of the sky unfolds. The stars do not twinkle. They burn with a steady, cold light, like tiny holes in the fabric of reality, behind which something incomprehensible is hidden. The only thing that disturbs this pristine picture is a lone cube of light, clinging to a rocky slope, the laboratory and home of Dr. John Reed. Inside the cube is another world, sterile, orderly, filled with the low-frequency hum of server rack cooling systems. The space is organized with mathematical precision, a work area with a holographic projector and terminals, a relaxation corner with a minimalist sofa and a coffee machine, and in the center, the heart of the laboratory, a sealed vacuum chamber made of reinforced glass and steel, nothing superfluous. No photographs, no souvenirs, just a stack of books on theoretical physics and a long cold cup of coffee, forgotten on the edge of the table. John is 55. Unshaven, with deep-set eyes, he doesn't look tired, rather obsessed. His element is the night, when the silence becomes absolute, and the world outside the laboratory walls dissolves. He is immersed in modeling the behavior of subatomic particles under conditions of quantum entanglement at ultra-low temperatures. Simply put, he is searching for the language in which the universe whispers its secrets when no one is listening. On the main terminal screen, cascades of formulas and a three-dimensional model depicting the probability cloud of a pair of entangled quarks. John is looking for an anomaly, a pattern, a deviation from the norm that would confirm his theory of the multidimensionality of the vacuum. His fingers flutter over the touch panel, his gaze is fixed on the screen, and his mind is somewhere on the border of the known and the unknowable. He pauses, reaches for the cup, and freezes. Empty. He grunts, almost not noticing his hand hovering in the air, and then something strange happens. It is not a thought and not a feeling, it is a shift. His inner attention, usually scattered or directed at formulas, suddenly, without his will, contracts into a single point. Like a searchlight beam, it focuses on the surface of his face. He feels the skin with incredible detail, the microscopic topography of pores, the movement of barely noticeable hairs, the temperature differences between areas. This is not a touch, not a bodily sensation. It is an informational scan, cold and dispassionate. He does not control it. He is merely an observer. John shook his head, trying to shake off the obsession. Overwork, he thinks, but the thought seems weak, unconvincing. He tries to return to work, but a minute later the focus returns, more insistent than before. Now it shifts down to the base of his torso, to the groin area. The sensation remains just as sterilely precise, not bodily, but as if his body is a map and someone is conducting an inventory of its nodes. The center of gravity, the root of the physical structure, just the next item on the list. This is starting to get annoying. His body, his attention, they do not obey him. He tries to ignore it, but the focus returns again and again, preventing him from thinking. Finally, he gives up. He leans back in his chair, closes his eyes, and mentally throws to the invisible operator, "Fine, do what you want." He allows his attention to wander over his body as it pleases. And at that moment, something else happens. The inner dialogue, that eternal commentator who is always muttering in his head, turns off. The silence becomes absolute, mirroring the silence of the valley outside. Thoughts disappear. No equations, no memories, no plans, only pure, empty awareness. For a split second, he is seized by a primal fear, the loss of control over his own mind. But it is followed by a wave of curiosity, almost delight. And then, as if a dam breaks, he flies out of this state. His heart is pounding, he gasps for air, not having time to understand what happened. But he is no longer alone in his head. At first, only a notification, a clear feeling of the presence of a new, complete alien idea in his consciousness. and then the unpacking begins. This is not a thought. It is a ready-made information package. Blueprints, physical principles, mathematical calculations, even tactile sensations from the material, all of it unfolds in his consciousness in a couple of seconds. He sees a device, a compact cube 20 by 20 by 20 centimeters. The body is made of a dull gray composite which feels both smooth and porous like pumice. No moving parts, buttons, screens, or connectors. The surface is covered with a network of the finest capillary-like channels, converging to 6 central points on each face. The principle of operation flashes in his head, elegant and insane. The device does not generate energy but creates a local, stable puncture in space-time, allowing the zero-point energy of the vacuum to flow into reality. This is not a generator. This is a gateway. John sits stunned. The first thought is rational: I've overworked. This is a hallucination, but it is weak, unable to drown out the clarity of the image. The idea of the gateway, its design, its physics, they do not disappear. They have settled in his mind, as stable as the memory of a real event. He understands that he will no longer be able to unsee them. Outside the window in the night, the stars above Schattenwald seem a little brighter, as if someone has turned an invisible dial. Somewhere in the depths of the valley, a low, barely perceptible hum is heard, not the sound of machines, not the voice of nature, but something else, as if reality itself is vibrating slightly. John does not notice this. His gaze is fixed on the emptiness in front of him, where in his imagination a cube is already rotating, shimmering with possibilities. He feels this is just the beginning.